Well, hello everyone. How are y'all doing? We made it another week. I know that I do this actually on Wednesday and post it on Friday, but just humor me. So lately I'm getting a lot of questions about passports and travel and how the passport relates to travel. Do I need a passport? Yes, you need a passport. So I thought this week's video would be about how to apply for a passport. So let me share my screen real quick with you all. And let's get here so I can tell you. All right, so first thing you need to know is that if you are going to be flying outside of the country, with the exception of Puerto Rico, Hawaii, and some other U.S. territories like the U.S. Virgin Islands, you do need a passport. However, the really cool thing about going to Hawaii, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, those places right now, is you do not have to take a COVID test to come back into the United States. Now, today is like, what is today? April 14th of 2021. So this could be different tomorrow. I'm just warning you. So let's go over the process of how to apply for a passport. I've given you the link right here. So there's tons of information on that website right there, the travel.state.gov/content/EM/passports/how-apply.html, or you can just copy and paste that into your browser, which is probably much easier. Or you can just Google how to apply for a passport and it'll generate this website for you. Now, there's a lot you can do before you apply for a passport online. So when I go and renew my passport, I've had mine for a while. When I go and renew my passport, I do most of this stuff at home before I even show up, just to make the process a lot easier and faster. I go to CVS, Walgreens, somewhere like that, where they will provide a passport photo for you in minutes. You'll be a little surprised at how pricey it is, but you're guaranteed that that passport photo will be accurate. It will meet the standards of what the passport office wants you to have. And then you'll have that picture with you when you go, because your passport could be denied based on your picture. Now, granted, I am not a passport specialist, so that's my disclaimer, is this is just my personal experiences, and I'm not a professional. I will give you the professional's phone number in a few minutes. So anyhow, I go to the passport, I go to CVS or Walgreens, get my picture made. I go onto this website, I print out that application, fill it out. I go ahead and I make copies of my birth certificate and my photo ID and even my passport and take it with me. It just makes things a little bit faster for me in my experience. So this is some of the services that are available on that website online that you can download, fill out, and print your passport forms so that you don't have to get there and then handwrite it all in. My last name is Charbonneau, so it takes me an hour just to write my last name. You can check the status of your application, which if you want to, the phone number I'm going to give you, you can check the status there as well. You can schedule an appointment at a passport agency, which I just checked yesterday for a potential client, and there were no appointments available. So I think due to COVID, they still have very limited appointment times. So be aware of that. If you are wanting to travel international, you need to be ahead of the game and be looking at 10 to 12 weeks out. I would say 14 weeks just to be safe, because you never know with the post office and it getting delivered to you how long it's going to take. So I would say at least 14 weeks before you travel, you need to get your passport application submitted so that you'll have your passport in hand. If you don't have your passport and you're wanting to go ahead and book a vacation, that gets a little bit tricky. More so for females than males, because females tend to get married and change their names, or if you've been adopted or you've had a name change of any sort, it gets a little bit tricky. But typically it's your legal first and last name. So you can typically look at your birth certificate and see what that's going to be. Just be sure, if you're going to do that, to get a cancel for any reason insurance options, so that if you don't get your passport, if something happens, because I have seen mistakes on passports and birth certificates, that kind of stuff, it gets a little tricky and a little hairy. So you might want to definitely have the cancel for any reason insurance options, so that if you do need to cancel, then you're only out like $150 versus $2,500. So definitely consider that if you don't have your passport in hand when you're booking a vacation. Other things you can do online is locate a passport acceptance facility near you. I typically go to our county courthouse, you will need to see what's available in your area. You can also use a library or a post office. Our post office where I live is usually very busy, and the courthouse is usually not as busy. So I always go to the courthouse. It's just easier. You can also report a passport as lost or stolen and find answers to your frequently asked questions. Now, when you get to where your passport facility, they're only going to take cash or check. On their website, it says that they will take credit cards, but it's been my experience that they will not take a credit card. They will only take cash or check only. And if you're going with a check, be prepared with at least 2 checks, because you're gonna have to write 2 different checks to 2 different people. And if you're coming with cash, be prepared that there's no change provided. So be sure to have exact change. And I've got the fees here listed out for you. So if you're 16 or older, you're considered an adult, and the application fee is $110, and then the execution fee is $35. There's where your 2 different charges come in: the application fee of $110 and your execution fee of $35. You're going to make checks out to 2 different people for those things. Okay, and let's talk about the difference between a passport book and a passport card. It's been my experience that the passport card will not, it's not going to allow you to travel internationally. You're going to have that book so that they can stamp. Customs and Immigration is going to want to stamp your passport book. So you're also going to have extra pages in your passport book to travel. And most places require you to have 6 months of validity left on your passport for coming back into the country. So just make sure your passport's not about to expire before you leave, and you have at least 6 months left on that passport from your return date, not your departure date. So I always recommend people just to get the passport book. You don't need the book and the card. The card will get you on a cruise, or it used to. We don't know what COVID is going to do to that. The card is used more for people who are driving across the border to Mexico and Canada. And so just go ahead and get the book. It's $110, $145 really. So it's going to be good for 10 years. That's like $14.50 a year if you really break it down. So it's not that bad. Granted, 145 at one time seems extreme, but $14.50 a year doesn't seem that bad, right? They are not offering installment plans. So just keep that in mind. If you are under 16, for children 16 and under, you can see that there's a reduced fee. Their passports are only going to last 5 years. And here's the trick. Well, not the trick. The secret that you need to know is that both parents have to appear in person for a child to get a passport. So just be prepared for that, because I've made a couple of mistakes in applying for passports. I went to apply for my child's passport one time without my husband, and that was a wasted trip because I had to go back and get my husband and arrange our time to go together. I've also shown up with all of my paperwork together, but no checks. And I don't carry cash. Do y'all carry cash? Who carries cash anymore? Here is the magical number that you will need should you need to call and track or have any questions about anything. Interesting story is last November or December, which was still during COVID, we decided to get our kids' passports renewed. For research purposes, I expedited my 18-year-olds and did not expedite my 14-year-olds passport, because my thought process was that, well, if something happens at the border, the 18-year-old is going to be considered an adult and they're not going to work with me. That's just my opinion. It's not fact. So just be aware of that. So, but for research purposes too, because the passport offices were just starting to open back up. Sorry, it's pollen season in the South. They were just starting to open back up, and I knew that there was a serious backlog with the passport applications, and they were operating at reduced capacity because they could not be open when we were shut down, because due to the sensitivity of the sensitivity of the information that they were working with, they couldn't work from home. So they could not tell me how long it was going to take to expedite a passport. It used to be like a couple of weeks for an expedited passport. Now it's, oh shoot, 4 to 6 weeks. Yeah. And if you're not doing expedited, it's 10 to 12 weeks. So anyhow, I went ahead and expedited one and not the other. And interestingly enough, I decided we decided at the last minute, hey, we might want to go to Mexico. So I need to expedite my 14-year-old's passport. So I called that phone number, that 877-487-2778, spoke with somebody. I was able to expedite my son's passport on the phone with a credit card. Interesting, right? Um, and I had my 14-year-old's passport 2 days before my 18-year-old's passport that I had expedited at the office when I did it. So there's a little bit of a process about expediting it if you call it in, but my experience was that it was faster to call it in. So you do what's best for you. I don't recommend that because that's not the typical procedure you're supposed to follow. So anyhow, if you have any questions, be sure to post them down below and I will answer them as well as I can. Remember that I am not a passport official, so I don't know, but I can tell you what my experience has been, or try to refer you to a website to help you out. Passports are fun. They're going to become essential, I do believe. So be sure to get yours. And listen, if you need any help planning your amazing vacations that you're going to need your passport for, check us out at travelcreatesmemories.com. Be sure to comment, like, follow, all that good stuff. Y'all have a great weekend. And I know it's, I trick myself because I know it's Wednesday and I'm just going to post this Friday. Y'all have a great weekend. Bye.